Hey there, it's Lacey J, here to ask you to go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, buy yourself some merch, and most importantly, send us a message, a question, fan mail, even hate mail. We'll respond on YouTube. Also, please remember to rate and review the podcast on your favorite app or share it with someone you know who loves Lost. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s, Season 4, Episode 12. It's the beginning of the season finale. It's called There's No Place Like Home, Part 1. It's an Oceanic 6 episode, and it's a Ben episode. But first, is everybody ready to end Season 4?
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. Oh, I'm so excited. Season 4 is often listed amongst the true fans' favorite seasons. So
yeah, I was thinking, I don't understand. After this viewing, I don't understand the people who are like, it's the worst.
No, I don't. Well, I don't understand anybody that says any season is the worst because they're all great and I love them all and they're all the best. No, we'll get into what that discussion, the which season is best discussion after we finish the podcast for sure.
Sure.
But today we're going to start to finish season 4 after Benjamin. Update us on those power rankings. We are close to the end. Who's going to pull it out this year?
Pull it out.
This season, I guess. Not year. Never mind.
Yeah.
I guess we know Kimi's going to lose, probably, right?
Duh, yeah.
Yeah.
So starting from third from the bottom, we still have a three-way tie for it's all the doctors, basically. Again, Dr. Harper, Dr. Ray, and Dr. Charlotte Lewis / Rocky Dennis, all with negative 24 points. We got the Silver Surgeon in second to last place with Jack. Well, with Jack. Jack with negative 32 points. And yes, Kimi, Mr. Axe Body Spray himself with negative 158 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the bonus episode, which you will get next week with the end of season 4, we will talk more about Kimi and his record-breaking numbers and where they compare to the other characters, amongst some other fun power ranking things. But for
now, at the winner's podium, in third place, we've got Ben Linus with 62 points, Juliet with 71 points, and the mayor of Islandtown, Hurley, with 75 points.
Woohoo! Snap! Can he hang on to the title? This would be good for him. He's been moving up every season. He's got to get gold to keep that trend. Woo! Mayor, good for you. Let's see what happens now. I don't know. I might try to cheat and put Ben on top.
Giggity.
Well, Christy will fight you on that one.
All right, our Ben. Why don't you take us through the first Oceanic 6-centered episode?
Yeah, so Season 4, Episode 12. We start in a flash forward. There's an endless expanse of sky over the sea with a few wisps of white clouds on the horizon. Pull back to reveal that we've been looking out the front window of a airplane. From one of the gauges hangs a rabbit's foot keychain. Do you guys see those? Those were big when I was younger. I feel like,
yeah,
I look at it now. I'm like, that's kind of savage. That's pretty fucked up.
Gross.
I saw some a couple weeks ago when I was in Charleston.
Really?
I was just gonna say, if you see them, you might find that like in the South.
Yeah, there's a big open market. I know you guys are headed there shortly. So there's a big open market that's several blocks, and in that market, there was a place that had a bunch of rabbit's feet, and I'm like, that's pretty fucking gross.
It is gross. Yeah. But I do remember them kind of being everywhere in the 80s.
Yeah. I never thought of it being gross back then either. It's lucky.
The pilot clutches the throttle, and the arm of the co-pilot clutches a cup of coffee. The pilot, wearing aviator glasses, flicks a switch above him and tells everyone that they're in for a little chop. The co-pilot picks up the rabbit's foot and starts kneading it between his fingers. The pilot tells him to put it away because it's freaking him out. The co-pilot says, "We need this thing. With the cargo we got back there."
No. Can I please stop you for a second? Please, for fuck's sake, don't ever put me in an airplane with a pilot that thinks he needs a rabbit's foot to land the plane. My God, man. No.
Yeah.
Wonder how many pilots have them.
No, I don't want to know the answer to that. I maybe never fly again. My God.
I feel like if you're a pilot, like if you're a fighter pilot or something and you're in there by yourself, that's fine. The second you're like in a cargo plane or a passenger plane, luck shouldn't really be the thing that you rely on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there are a lot of like superstitious fighter pilots with like rabbit's feet or like a
I could see
token
it.
of some sort? Yeah.
They want to get lucky that they don't get shot down.
I guess I could see that too.
There are a lot of superstitious athletes, so why not fighter pilots?
Oh, right. Like they won't shave their hair or their beards or something.
Change their socks.
Yeah, or the
whatever.
same jock for the,
Oh, God.
Yeah. I could see it, especially with like test pilots. Like if you're flying a plane that you know is just like a sturdy airframe and it's tested and things like that, that's great. But when you're doing like experimental flights, I would imagine there's probably some superstition there.
Well, I mean, I think all of that is dumb, but I guess I could see it being more common than like just flying from Seattle to Los Angeles. Like,
if it brings them comfort, then whatever.
Yeah, sure. I mean, tell that to the rabbits, but
well, I meant other kind of superstitious things. Yeah, this is barbaric.
Right. All right.
Well, you know what? I had a rabbit ragu a couple days ago, so the feet have got to go somewhere, I suppose, if we're using them for meat. So.
Oh, did you at your work conference, like dinner afterwards? You had rabbit. Mm-hmm. Oh, it does taste good.
It is
good. I served
good.
rabbit once for Easter dinner.
Nice.
That's savage.
That is awesome.
That is pretty savage.
Did you serve a hunk of Jesus at Christmas?
Good.
It's all a hunk of Jesus, right?
Yes. Wow. Hunk of Jesus. Maybe we should move on.
Yeah. Off to a strong start.
A new T-shirt, hunka Jesus.
Oh God, I have so many T-shirts to make. Stay tuned for our post-season video pod. I do have some new merch stuff to show.
Oh, hunka Jesus with just a picture of like a saltine or a little cracker.
You mean like a Catholic wafer?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever those things are. Yeah. I don't know what they are. I mean, they're like little shitty hard crackers, right? That don't taste good at all.
They taste like styrofoam.
Yeah, they might be styrofoam.
Right.
Let's go for the wine.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
All right. Again, strong start. We are staying on course. We are not staying on course or heading 305 or 315 or whatever it is. We are all over the place.
Right.
All right.
So the pilot turns around to address a woman strapped into the jump seat behind him. She's wearing an Oceanic Airlines identification badge. He asks her to go to the back and let them know that they're landing. She says, "Of course," and gets up. The engines whir loudly while she smiles and passes someone strapped in a jump seat at the front of the cargo hold. She navigates her way further back and says, "We're coming in for a landing." Here we can see Jack trying to get some sleep, Hurley staring around alertly, Kate's son and Saeed all looking listless, and Aaron is quiet in Kate's lap. The ocean rep says, "It's a military facility just west of Honolulu. It's completely private. Your families are already here."
Whoa.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of press that want to speak to you, but as far as Oceanic is concerned, you don't have to speak to any reporters.
I kind of felt like she was passively aggressively saying, "Please, for the love of God, don't speak to any reporters."
Yeah,
We're trying to figure out how to explain this.
Yep.
Yeah. We need shut up while we spin this, basically.
Yeah.
Jack speaks up to say, "We'll talk to him." She asks if that's okay with all of them, but the rest of them don't respond. Jack says, "It's fine. We all agreed. We just want to get it over with."
Their faces in this scene are amazing. These actors are amazing. I mean, except for like the Aaron baby, it's not doing anything. Babies are
yeah, with its head shrinking and growing
actors.
and shrinking and growing. Like
I know. I like the kid's got some sort of brain disorder that swells from time to time, and somebody really needs to help it.
it's called swellhead.
It's called hydrocephalus, actually.
I was gonna think like encephalitis or something like that.
Hydrocephalus, water on the brain.
The Oceanic rep tells them that they're being referred to as the Oceanic 6. She says, that's not the best branding as far as we're concerned, but it's catchy. We'll see you on the ground. And then she leaves. Yeah, she's very sensitive.
Yeah.
We're branding you now.
To her company,
Yeah. Good God.
As the plane descends, Jack says, we all know the story. If we get any questions that we don't want to answer or that we can't answer, we just keep our mouths shut. It's okay. They'll think we're in shock. To which Son replies, we are in shock, Jack. Jack replies, well, then this should be easy.
Yep.
Oh my God.
As the plane lands, Aaron fusses in Kate's lap. The plane rolls to a halt, and Jack unbuckles himself. The others follow. The cargo bay doors open on the plane, revealing daylight and a number of figures who step into view. 4 Coast Guard men carry a ramp into place. Hurley gets up, and so does everyone else. Hurley steps out first, waving hello. His mother and father rush up to greet him, with Son parents standing just beside them. Emotional music swells as Hurley hugs his parents. Jack hugs his mother, and Oceanic employees applaud the reunion. Hurley introduces Saeed to his parents, and Hurley's mother kisses Saeed on the cheek. Jack's mother kisses him. Son's mother looks her over, but Kate has no one waiting for her.
Poor Kate.
She looks around for a few seconds, and then at the baby in her arms, whose head is now a different size again.
Yep. It was the air pressure on the plane. That's what it was.
On the island, it's nighttime on day 99. Kate stands in the darkness, staring into the distance. Rose thinks it must have been Saeed and Desmond in the helicopter because why else would they drop a bag? The phone is still beeping. Son thinks if that was the case, that it doesn't make sense that they didn't just land. Jack says, I don't know, but this thing is tracking the chopper. So if they were on it, they want us to know where they're going. Son wants to know if they...
Right?
That is a really big
anybody.
Exactly.
Throwing that down there.
Yeah, you know, when I was thinking about this, I was like, it makes more sense if they can use those phones to figure out someone's position. It would make more sense that you would drop the phone on the beach so that the people in the chopper would know exactly where to go when they landed to find the people on the beach. I wouldn't think of it the other way. I would think that they're dropping this so that they can find us, not so that we could find them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That would make more sense. But then how could they get an excuse to go traipsing off into the jungle?
Oh, no. Yeah, it totally opens up a side quest. Absolutely.
Right.
The Saeed quest.
The Saeed quest. Son wants to know if they can use the phone just to call. So Jack looks at Faraday, who nods. Jack hands him the phone and tells him not to do anything stupid, to which Faraday says, understood. The phone beeps and hisses static before Kimi's voice can be heard saying, put it down over there. Faraday shushes everyone, and they listen to Lapidus say they're still 5 clicks from the site. Kimi responds, I said put it down, Frank. Okay, gear up, boys. Soon as we hit the ground, we deploy to the Orchid. Heads down. Let's do this.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Jack asks Juliet if she's familiar with the Orchid. She says no and is concerned they didn't hear Desmond or Saeed on the helicopter. Jack asks Kate if she'd like to go on a walk. Kate replies, absolutely.
Of course.
She's always up for an adventure.
Or like
She is.
stars, like in a Looney Tune, like popping out of her eyes. Adventure.
So Jack says he'll get the guns while she gets some water. Juliet is annoyed that Jack is going off into the jungle after just having surgery and reminds him that if his sutures rip, he's going to be in trouble. Jack says he can't just sit around. He has to do something. Juliet wants to know why so, and Jack says, because I promised those people I would get them off this island. I really wish we had Dave right now to do the Jack's voice.
I know. You want me to try it?
Because
because I promised those people that I would get them off this island. No, that's like Jack is a munchkin.
You sound more like Jello Biafra there. Because I promised these people.
I was Katherine Hepburn in the late years doing her impression of Jack. All right.
Juliet tells Jack not to bleed to death, and he says he'll see her in a couple of hours.
Oh, boy.
Little ways away, Faraday is frantically flipping through his journal. Charlotte notices and asks him what's wrong. He says, Charlotte, did you hear what he said? They're going to the Orchid. They're using the secondary protocol.
Oh, boy.
Charlotte is confused and asks what he means while Daniel gets to the page he's looking for. On it, a drawing in the shape of a Dharma logo that looks like a flower in the middle. Next to it, in all caps, is written, The Orchid. Faraday, looking terrified, says, we got to get off this island right now. Lost title screen.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boy. What does Faraday know?
Secondary protocol.
Yeah.
The Orchid.
Yeah.
All kinds of questions.
Yep.
Well, I think we know. I mean, we pretty much know what the secondary protocol is. Fucking kill everybody on the island.
Yeah.
Charles Widmore is like a homicidal maniac who's hired himself a homicidal maniac, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's a company you keep.
Well, right.
Back to Jack and Kate, who are now trekking through the jungle on their side quest, following the beeping phone.
Kate's sniffing all the plants.
I know.
Get the scent of whoever was here exactly 34 minutes and 26 seconds ago.
Exactly. Jack notices they're catching up and decides the chopper must have landed. Kate wants him to take a break and unzips her backpack to grab some water. When I read this, Kate wants him to take a break and unzips, and I was like, ooh.
Those are pants. That's what I was thinking, too, yeah. Let's take a break here, Jack.
Take a break, Jack. Have a snack.
Jack's like, Kate, when was the last time you took a shower?
Yeah, you talk about sniffing plants, yeah.
Oh, and then after she unzips it, she notices that it's bleeding. Never mind.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Kate notices he's bleeding. He is bleeding. Yeah. But Jack says, I'm not bleeding. I'm suppurating. It's discharge. My body's just fighting the infection around the stitches. Is that better?
Sutures, Jack. Close, but it's really Dave's game. He's the only player.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I'll stick with Saeed, I guess.
So he's leaking pus from his wound, and he's like,
you better hope it's not pus, because that means he's got an infection. No, it's just fluid. Yeah. Like fluid gathers around a wound like that. It's often when you have abdominal surgery, you'll wear pads afterward and like support to so that you don't fill up with fluid. And and then it'll leak out and takes a few days to weeks, depending on the kind of surgery that you have.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, just keep you from just like filling up with fluid.
Surgery always sounds fun.
Exactly. And given the lack of masks that were used during that procedure, if it were pus, it would not be surprising.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I would think that would take a few like hours to days, not like minutes later. Because like chronologically, I think he had surgery like 2 minutes ago, basically.
Yeah, that's true. So Kate says, when most people are lying and they can't look you in the eye, you do the exact opposite. Jack chuckles, and just then a branch snaps, and footsteps can be heard approaching. Jack and Kate draw their guns and spread out. Uh-oh.
Spread.
Miles emerges from the forest to say, hey, long time no see.
Oh, you know what? I want to stop you for a second. I forgot to say this 2 sentences ago, but it's interesting when she tells him that, like, when he's lying, he looks directly in her eye. And I feel like that's kind of like a narcissistic sort of trait to do that, to try to be convincing.
It's like bullying somebody into believing you.
Yeah, it sort of goes with like the whole surgeon persona, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, Miles.
Well, I imagine that's probably a function of like if you're going to do surgery on somebody and the family's like please tell me he's going to be okay, please tell me she's going to be okay, and you have to be able to look at them and say like, maybe not lie, but,
Definitely not lie. That would be unethical.
Yeah.
No, you have to tell
But
the
to try
truth.
They're fine.
to try to assure somebody, they don't have any control over the outcome of something. So I think trying to assure somebody
They
and
have
show
some control.
confidence, I think you would have to be able to do that to some degree.
I think you have to be able to look someone in the eye and tell them the brutal truth is what part of being a surgeon is
I've had a
about.
lot of drinks. I'm not sure how this is going to go.
Is that Christian? I don't know,
Or
guys.
him.
I'm really
Man,
buzzed here.
I am pilled the fuck out. I'm a little shaky, but he's pretty banged up anyway, so it's probably not going to matter.
Oh my God.
So, anywho, before we got off on this tangent, Mile emerged from
Right,
the forest
Miles.
to say, hey, long time no see. Aaron starts to cry, and he and Sawyer emerge from the jungle. Jack wants to know where Claire is, and Sawyer says they lost her. She just walked off in the middle of the night. We looked for her for a day. She was just gone. I was hoping maybe she went back to the beach. Jack tells him that she didn't, and Sawyer wants to know why they're out in the jungle. Jack mentions the phone and says that it was dropped from the chopper, and they think that it was Saeed who dropped it. Sawyer says, well, you better hope it ain't Saeed, because if he's with those animals that just blew up half of New Otherton, you don't want to tussle with him.
New
Kate says,
Otherton.
what?
New Otherton.
They tried to kill you? Sawyer confirms they did, just like Locke said they would.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Just put a little barb in there.
Yeah. Let me stick my finger into your bleeding wound and just kind of twist it a little bit. Jack doesn't think they should turn around and hide since that didn't appear to work for the Locke crew. Sawyer says, I'm sorry, Doc. Maybe this is deja vu, but didn't you just do the whole run through the jungle with a walkie plan? Jack points out that the helicopter is their only chance to get off the island. Aaron starts to cry again, and Sawyer calls Jack a broken record with a getting off the island talk.
Oh.
Kate tries to stop them from fighting as Aaron continues to cry. Jack says, look, I put Saeed and Desmond on that chopper. It was my call. It's my responsibility. I'm going after it whether they're in it or not. You can all head back to the beach. Kate tries to protest Jack going alone, but he tells her to take care of the baby and walks away by himself. Sawyer says,
That's a little misogynistic.
Bitch is stubborn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sawyer then cocks his gun so that the jungle and the entire world knows that he's serious and takes off after Jack saying, hold up, you don't get to die alone.
I did like that he went with him.
Sawyer. Yeah, me too.
Are we going on a little buddy adventure?
Oh, I know.
That son of a bitch is stubborn.
Some bitch is stubborn. There you go.
And this takes us to flash forward number 2. The Oceanic
shit.
6 is seated at a large table that is set up for a press conference. The Oceanic representative who was on the flight with them speaks in front of a PowerPoint presentation. She says, based on the location of the wreckage, our best estimate of the crash site is, she points to somewhere out in the middle of the fucking Pacific. From there, the survivors were carried by the ocean's current to, she points to another place, an uninhabited island in the Lesser Sunda Islands known as Membata. As you've all read in your briefing books, on day 103, a typhoon washed up the remnants of an Indonesian fishing boat, including basic supplies and a survival raft. On day
Isn't that
108,
convenient?
So convenient.
on day 108, the remaining 6 survivors, including Miss Austin's baby, which she gave birth to on the island of Membata, used this raft to journey here, an island called Sumba. They then came ashore near a village called Manukanga. This photo was taken by the local fishermen who found them. Once it was discovered who they were transported to Honolulu by the U.S. Coast Guard. As you can imagine, this has been an extraordinarily trying experience. They have, however, agreed to answer a few questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, the survivors of Oceanic 815.
Wow.
And then there's a note here that some of the press conference was not actually in the original television version.
It's not in the original version, but I put the enhanced broadcast version so that you hear every question that was asked in the scene, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So every reporter starts shouting questions all at once. The rep calls on a male reporter who says, Dr. Shepard, can you tell us what it was like when the plane hit the ocean? How did you survive?
Hurt. Sudden.
Well, I shot my pants, sir.
I'm sure there's a lot of pants shitting going on in that plane.
Camera shutters are clicking rapidly, and Jack looks nervous. He says, It all happened really fast. I remember the impact. I remember the plane filling up with water. The group of us got to the emergency door and got out before it went down.
Mm.
The reporter asks a follow-up question about whether the ones who survived swam to the island. Jack says, no, we had cushions. We had some life jackets. We were in the water for over a day.
Cushion for a flotation device.
That smells like beer farts.
Mm.
Hope he didn't use the one that he shit in.
You got the poopy pillow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
We were in the water for over a day before the current took us in. By then, there was only 8 of us left.
What?
Another reporter asks
8?
What happened to the other 3 people who survived. Jack says, one of them, his name is Boone Carlisle, suffered tremendous internal injuries and died a few days after the crash. A woman, Libby, she didn't make it through the first week.
Oh.
Charlie Pace, he drowned a few weeks before we were able to leave.
Actually true.
Yeah, I do like how they tried. They really did try to thread in the truth about how these people died.
Yeah,
Like,
somewhat.
It's not. It's
as
not
much as they
untrue.
could.
It's just missing a lot of context.
Yeah.
A female reporter jumps in. Over here, please. Considering the ordeal that you've all been through, you look pretty healthy, having been on an island for more than 100 days. Hurley replies, was that directed at me, dude? And the crowd laughs.
First one I thought of.
The reporter follows up by asking Hurley how it feels to know he'll get his $150 million back. Hurley says, I don't want it back. Any of it. That money was bad luck. The female reporter starts speaking in Korean, and the other reporters start yelling for someone to translate. Sun, in English, says, she asked if my husband was one of the people who died on the island. The camera shutters stop, and the silence waits for Sun. As an airplane can be heard taking off in the distance, Sun says, the answer is no. He never made it off the plane.
What?
Then a reporter with an Arabic accent asks Saeed if he's aware of the situation in Iraq and if he has plans to return. Saeed says, there is nothing for me in Iraq. The same reporter asks Jack what his plans are now that he's home. Jack says, I haven't really thought too much about it.
Drink.
My father died in Sydney. I was bringing him home for the funeral when the plane crashed, even though the body is... I'd like to put him to rest.
Even though the body is walking around the island.
in some very smart white shoes.
Yeah, I'd like to put him to rest. To be quite honest, it's frightening that he's walking around the island.
The reporters now turn to Kate to ask what it was like to give birth on the island. She says simply, scary.
Oh.
The reporter then asks how old Aaron is and why his head is so fucking big. And when asked, says just over 5 weeks and swell head, the reporter follows up with, so that would have made you about 6 months pregnant when the U.S. Marshal Service apprehended you in Australia for an outstanding murder warrant. Is that correct?
Ruh-roh.
That's also a giant 5-week-old baby.
Yes.
Right?
Just think how big that was when he was when it came out.
Huge.
Yeah. She actually gave birth to the baby right after the crash in the water and used his head as a flotation device.
Yes.
The
Crash popped him out.
I imagine when the one reporter asked them about like why they all look so healthy or whatever, the baby grabbed the mic and was like, was that about me, dude?
Yeah. What are you saying about my head?
The Oceanic rep jumps in to say that Miss Austin's legal issue is off the table. Another female reporter yells out, Mr. Girard, given the amazing circumstances surrounding the survival of U-6, is it possible there are any other survivors from the crash yet to be discovered? Saeed replies, no, absolutely not.
Huh?
Wow.
As the Oceanic 6 leave the conference, Jack tells Kate that she did good. The Oceanic rep then approaches Saeed to tell him there's a woman outside waiting for him. She wasn't on the list of his family, but her name is Noor Abed Jazim.
Holy
What?
shit.
As the plane takes off, Saeed walks out to find Nadia standing there. He starts to cry in disbelief and says her name, Nadia, Nadia. They embrace and share an emotional kiss.
That's wild.
Wow.
Yeah, that one had me tearing up a little bit too.
Little dusty.
Yeah. Especially because we already know she's fucking dead in the present.
Yeah.
And that this is a fleeting moment here.
As all happy moments in Lost are.
In life, probably, but definitely in Lost.
On the island, Saeed arrives at the beach and calls out to everyone, "Hey, over here." Sun sees him and asks about Desmond. He tells her that he's fine and on the ship and says, "Listen, I'm going to start taking people back 6 at a time. We have to go right now before the helicopter gets back to the boat." Juliet wants to know why they have to get in the boat instead of waiting for the chopper. Saeed says, "Because the men on that helicopter have the intention of killing all of us." He notices the look of horror on Juliet's face before she says, "Jack and Kate just went running after it."
Of course they did.
Of course they did.
The closer we are to the closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm.
That's a hobbit. Which hobbit said that? I think it was probably
Pippin,
yeah.
It's the last thing he'll expect. Yeah. Ben is leading Locke and Hurley across the island. Hurley wants to know where they're headed, and Ben tells him they're going to a greenhouse called the Orchid. Hurley wants to know why they would go to a greenhouse, so Ben says, "You heard, John. We're going to move the island."
They have good pot there.
But then his response, "You heard, John, we're going to move the island." Oh, of course. That's how you move islands, is you go to the greenhouse. That makes perfect sense. Thanks so much.
Yeah. You're going to get really high, and the island's just going to move around you.
So is it in the greenhouse, just a bunch of pot. You're going to get baked.
Wonder if they have any shrooms there.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
To that, Hurley replies, "Right. And how are we going to do that?" And Ben says, "Very carefully."
Oh my God, Ben.
Yes.
Hurley wants to know why Ben didn't just move the island before the psychos and the guns got there. And Ben tells him, because doing it is both dangerous and unpredictable. It's a measure of last resort. Hurley replies, "Awesome."
Love it.
Ben pushes aside some rocks to reveal a wooden box. But before he can open it, Locke steps in. He opens the box and tosses a package to Hurley. Hurley opens it up and proceeds to begin eating the saltine crackers inside. Is that a chunk of Jesus?
Stale as fuck. Did you say hunka-chunk of Jesus?
Yeah, it's a hunka-chunk of Jesus.
Jesus cracker.
It's a stale hunka-chunk of Jesus.
It's a little Jesus jerky.
Oh, no.
Ben asks for the mirror, which Locke hands him before Ben reminds Hurley those crackers are 15 years old. Ben flashes the mirror toward a distant mountain peak and tells Hurley that he's communicating. Locke asks, "Communicating with who?" And Ben replies, "Who do you think?" The return message flashes from the mountain, and Ben says they can go now. Locke wants to know what message Ben sent, but Ben says, "None of your business, John."
None of your beeswax.
Back on the beach, Faraday is telling
Why did we say
Saeed.
that as kids? Why did we say none of your beeswax? What the fuck does that even mean?
Because my parents said it to me. That's the only reason why I said it back.
Yeah.
All right.
That's obviously a stupid thing that we learned to say.
Yeah.
I know. I'm gonna have to learn up where that phrase. Learn up. I'm gonna have to learn it up. I meant look up where the phrase came from. I'm not even drunk this week.
You got to do some of your fancy book learning.
No,
Have you already started drinking?
No, I'm having coffee
With
creamer.
Kahlua?
Creamer.
No.
Nope.
All right. Fuck.
If we had some, there'd totally be some Kahlua in there, but no, not
Maybe.
today.
Yeah.
By the way, we need to get some Kahlua.
Oh my God.
Alexa, add Kahlua to the shopping list.
Right. You already have Kahlua on your shopping list, you fucking lush.
Oh my God. We could program her to say that. That would be hilarious.
We could.
All right.
Back on the beach, Faraday is telling Saeed that it's fine if he wants to run off into the jungle. But in the meantime, they need to get these people off the island. He offers to start ferrying them, and Saeed agrees, saying, "I trust you know the bearing." Faraday turns to the rest and says the first 6 need to get on the boat. Juliet wants Sun to go first because she's pregnant. And then at this, Kate arrives at the beach holding Aaron. And she says, and she and Saeed are both surprised to see each other there. She tells him Jack thought he was on the helicopter. And Saeed replies, I know what he thought. That's why I'm going after him. How far ahead is he? Kate says, I don't know. He's with Sawyer. I left them about an hour ago. Jack's got a sat phone and they're heading for the helicopter. I can track them. Of course you can.
Sniffing.
Of course you
Of
can.
course you can.
Sniffing
sniffing
the
those
ground.
plants again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, you're not going to catch up to them unless I go with you. Saeed agrees. Kate hands the baby to Sun, ignoring her questions about Claire. She tells Sun to get Aaron on the boat and then runs to catch up with Saeed. When Faraday's boat is
we got
full-
like the season 1 quest crew back together again.
exactly.
Yes.
By the way, the expression "mine your own beeswax" comes from the 18th century when the dreaded smallpox left nasty scars on people's skin if it hadn't managed to kill you. To cover their disfigurement, women, and most probably men, would apply beeswax to their faces in an attempt to improve their complexion.
Good
So
old
mine your
smallpox.
beeswax, like mine your face, I guess.
Yes.
or like mind your P's and Q's.
Shut your mouth. Well, that's just pleasing.
A lot of times my dad said, mind your own beeswax.
Yeah.
So
It does say mind
know.
your own beeswax. So it's meaning like, take care of yourself, get the fuck out of my business. Yeah, I
Yep.
guess that makes sense now. All right.
yeah,
Okay. Ben?
mystery solved.
Yes.
All right.
Mini fun fact. Who's belching?
That was me. Faraday's boat is now full, including Sun, Jin, and Aaron. They push the boat into the water, and Faraday nervously waves goodbye to Charlotte. With everyone inside the boat, Faraday starts up the motor, and they start to whir away.
Word.
Jin looks at Jin looks at Sun, and in Korean he says, "I told you I'd get you off the island." Sorry, I started to almost go into a Saeed there. Let me do
Yeah,
that
you
one more
did. I
time.
was like,
Jin looks at Sun, and in Korean he says, "I told you I'd get you off the island."
Wrong accent.
Nope, I'm doing that. We're sticking
He
with that
grew up
one.
in the South.
Wrong.
Yeah, he's from the South of Korea.
He's from
That's how
South
he
Korea,
sounds.
so
Damn, Skippy.
I don't want to miss the impact of this moment, though. That's like
Okay.
a boom
Yeah.
moment for Jin. Like, I told you. You got my
Okay.
baby.
So-
I'm getting
so
you
Jin
off
looks
this
at Sun.
fucking island.
Yes.
No,
he
we'll
looks
keep
at
your
Sun,
goofy versions.
and he says,
That's fine.
Okay. When he says this, Sun, holding on to Aaron, starts to smile. And this
I
takes
wanted
us
to
to
hear you just actually like spit out some Korean. That would have been really cool.
yeah, I've been.
How'd you learn
No.
that?
Yeah. I'll handle that some other time. And this takes us to flash forward number 3. A very pregnant Sun climbs the daunting sunlight-drenched marble stairs of the corporate offices of Peck Heavy Industries. At the top of the stairs, Mr. P is berating 2 other men in suits. He wants to know, how could this happen? One of the men says, whoever did it, sir, used 5 different banks. Mr. P is livid and
my
wants
God.
them to get Yoon up there right now.
Oh my God.
The 2 men bow at him and shuffle off. Sun has now arrived and apologizes for interrupting. Her father brushes it off and sits down at his desk. She asks him if anything is wrong. He tells her nothing that she'd understand and then
Damn.
asks about the pregnancy.
Okay.
Sun replies, "Don't pretend to be interested in my baby. We both know you hated my husband."
Oh
Mr.
my
P
God.
is taken aback and asks her to repeat herself. Sun says, "You heard me. You hated Jin." Mr. P gets up and demands that Sun respect him as her father. Sun,
Okay. This is amazing.
This is
Because
awesome.
when
So
we
badass.
when we first meet Sun, like we know she's got some bravery in there. She, from her point of view, was getting away from her toxic and abusive father and husband at that point, as you know.
yeah.
So she was getting ready to walk away. But this is like a whole other level of gumption to walk in and do what she's about to do. And it's like the island has changed this woman, and she is like powerful and strong as fuck now. And it's amazing.
I don't think you can live through an experience like being shipped, your plane going down and landing on an island and all that without having it seriously change who you are as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wilson.
Yes,
Well, except maybe Jack, right? I mean, that's our argument is that it doesn't
That's true.
change him. That's why we get
Yeah,
so
that's
mad
true.
at him.
Yep.
But it did her. So let's watch her or listen to her whoop her father's ass right now.
Yeah. So son, with a badass look on her face, says, Oceanic paid us a settlement for the crash. It was very significant. This morning, I bought a controlling interest in your company. So now you will respect me. Mr. P is shocked and asks why she would do that. Son says, you ruined my husband's life. It is because of you we were on that plane. 2 people are responsible for his death. You are one of them. I'm going to have my baby, and then we shall discuss the plans for the future of the company, our company.
Bam.
Mic drop.
Love it.
Woo!
So something
Also-
doesn't quite add up here. Like if
What?
Peck Industries is like this massive company, and I would imagine like cars and it's like heavy industries and all that, it would be tough for me to imagine that somebody could go in and take a couple, 20, 30, 40, 100 million, a $500 million even, and be able to buy a controlling interest in it.
Yeah, what is the company worth?
Yeah.
It
Mr.
seems
Peck
like
is
it's a
really
pretty
not that
massive
baller
company.
then. Yeah.
He's pretty powerful. He's,
Well, yes, I think realistically
to
that
beat up
doesn't make
government
sense.
officials.
But it's a great fucking moment to pretend
It
like
is.
it's possible. Also, she said 2 people are responsible for Jin's death. Who's the other one, Derek? Who's she mad at?
We'll find out.
I guess so.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
Stay tuned.
2
Yeah.
episodes.
Still in the flash forward, a car pulls up outside a house. Hurley steps out and notices the front door is open. He enters and calls out to his mother and father. A grandfather clock is chiming, and Hurley calls out to Mr. and Lady Tran. Whispering
They
can
can't
be
hear
heard.
him. They're in the kitchen making cheeseburgers and lasagna.
Yeah, right.
Gourmet shit.
Whispering can be heard. Hurley finds a coconut on the floor. Whispering grows louder. Hurley picks up a statue of Jesus and wields it as a weapon.
Oh my god.
Not the first time Jesus has been used as a weapon, so
Not the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
either.
not the last either. Whispering continues. Hurley says, "Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?" As he opens the back door, outside are all of his family and friends waiting to scream, "Surprise! Happy
Oh my
birthday!" Everybody claps, and then Carmen notices Hurley holding the Jesus statue and asks him why. He tells her he was afraid of a prowler might be in the house. Her mother says, "Jesus is not a weapon."
Huh?
Okay, enjoy your party.
Yeah, she sounded like Saeed too.
Did she?
Everyone sounds
bit,
like
yeah.
Saeed.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is not a weapon.
Yeah, she's
Okay,
more
enjoy your party.
she's more like Jesus Christ is not a weapon, Hurley. No. No, that didn't work either.
You sound kind of like Saeed as well.
I think I started maybe with a
You started
like,
right, and then you
Yeah,
ended.
and then it went like Russian or Lithuanian or
l-
something. I don't know what
Now
happened.
let me
there.
try it this way. Jesus Christ is not a weapon. No, that's Jack.
That's Jack.
Let's try slapping a bass.
Slap it to base. Why does everyone say I sound like a leprechaun?
Jesus.
He be slapping the bass.
And I just have to say, Hurley's parents are so ridiculously out of touch. Yes.
What are you doing? What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Right.
Clearly has PTSD, and an island-themed party is probably not the best idea.
And his dad like comes up in a minute and is talking, "Oh, you guys talking about killing boar? Like this was not fun.
Yeah.
We were not on a walkabout. We were stranded on a fucking island."
The party is now in full swing with Hawaiian music playing and people laughing. A baby coos, and Hurley turns to see Kate holding baby Aaron. He says,
Ow.
"No way." Kate wishes him a happy birthday and says that Jack is running a little late. Nadia and Saeed are also there, and Hurley is touched that everyone is there. Saeed says, "Interesting choice of theme." And Hurley replies, "Yeah, my mom really doesn't get it, dude."
No, he doesn't. Dude.
Hurley's dad wanders up to the group and asks if they're talking about building fires or hunting boars, and then kind of laughs.
Oh my God.
They don't laugh. So he says, I guess not. Listen, do you mind excusing us for a little while? I want to show you your birthday present. The two are now standing in front of the garage where Hurley says he told him he didn't want anything and is adamant that he didn't want it to come from his money. His dad says that he got the present before the money, and as the garage door opens, Hurley can see the red Camaro all repaired.
Oh my goodness.
His dad tells him that after the plane crash, he started fixing it because it was almost like Hurley was there. He says, but now you're back and it's all yours. Want to take her for a little spin? Hurley gets inside and inserts the key into the ignition. As he does, he looks down and sees in the odometer the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
What?
Fuck.
What the hell?
Obviously not just in the odometer. That was also the trip counter as well.
Yeah.
So unless that thing has a fucking massive mileage on it.
His dad drove it around the world like 6 times while he was
Literally,
gone.
I drove this to Neptune and back. His dad notices something is wrong, and Hurley says, is this some kind of joke? His father is confused. Did you notice there was a rabbit's foot on the keys as well here?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
His father is confused, so Hurley, getting more upset by the second, says 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. Did you do this? Those are the numbers right there, the numbers I won the lottery with. His dad thinks it's a weird coincidence, but Hurley is flipping out, says there's no way it's a coincidence. He gets out of the car, screams that he doesn't want any of this, and runs off, leaving his father calling after him.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
Back to the island, and Ben, Hurley, and Locke are walking through a bamboo forest. Hurley is questioning Ben about moving the island and wonders if they do, won't the bad guys move with them?
Duh.
Ben says he supposes so, but he's working on that part.
Oh.
Hurley says he wants to get off the island before it moves, and Locke replies, I'm afraid it's a little late for that, Hugo.
Oh boy.
Birds chirp in the distance, and Ben kneels down. He asks for binoculars and tells the other two to get down. When Locke questions why, Ben says, because Charles Widmore, the man who's trying to capture me and kill the rest of you, knows about this place and knows that what we need is inside.
What?
Locke sighs and points out that Ben told him he had no idea why Widmore was trying to find the island. Ben admits he wasn't being entirely truthful.
Really, Ben?
Oh,
Shocking.
you don't say.
Locke wonders when Ben is ever being entirely truthful as Ben hands him the binoculars. He tells Locke to look at the left-hand side, and when he does, he sees mercenaries patrolling the Orchid.
Fuck.
Faraday makes it back into the Kahana with the others on the boat. When they arrive, Desmond asks about Saeed. Faraday tells them he went to help Jack and that they're headed for the helicopter. Sun and Jin get off the boat, and Desmond checks on Sun. Faraday hops right back in and takes off to pick up another group. Michael shows up to tell Desmond that the engine is fixed, and Hendricks should be able to start it up. He notices Sun and Jin. Sun and Jin notice him, and they all stare at each other in shock.
What a moment. It's
Yes.
what the fuck? Christy knows what that feels like, to see someone in a context that you didn't expect them when I showed up on your doorstep magically for your 40th birthday.
Yeah, that was wild.
I'll never forget your reaction. It was amazing. It was just total shock. She just started like laughing and crying at the exact same time. It was amazing.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I really wanted Sun to say, Michael, there, but that didn't happen. Desmond radios Hendricks and tells him to start up the ship. It works, so Desmond tells him to head to the island on a bearing of 305. Static is crackling through the radio. Hendricks says they've got RF interference with a fathometer and he can't see the reef. Desmond says that's not possible because the radio room is down. Hendricks tells him that something on that boat is broadcasting, and until it's off, he's not getting closer. Desmond says he'll find it, and Hendricks powers down the boat. Back to the island, Jack and Sawyer are now walking through the jungle, following the steady beep of the phone. Sawyer notices the blood on him and asks if he cut himself shaving. Jack tells him that Juliet took his appendix out 2 days ago. Sawyer wonders what else he missed, and at this they start hearing banging noises. And Jack sees a handcuffed Lapidus trying to escape. Lapidus! Let's see, that's just totally sidetracked me.
Lapidus is trying to escape.
Yeah. Sawyer says, "You know this Yahoo?" Lapidus takes offense and says, "Yahoo? This Yahoo dropped the phone on you guys so you could find me, and so I could fly you out of here. So why don't you do me a favor and get in that back compartment? There's a toolbox. See if you can find something to get me out of these things." Sawyer goes to look and asks the men if he could also get them a cold glass of lemonade while he's back there. Jack asks about Saeed and Desmond, and Lapidus says they were smart enough to stay on the boat. He warns that when the boys he brought over come out of the jungle, they need to be long gone. He tells Jack they're perched up by the same greenhouse, or by some greenhouse, waiting to ambush and snatch Ben Linus. Lapidus tells as soon as he's free, they'll fly out of here. But then Sawyer asks what will happen to anyone with Ben. Lapidus says, "Nothing good." So Sawyer looks back at Jack and says, "Hugo's with Ben." Jack replies, "Son of a bitch."
Yep, Jack did a son of a bitch.
Yep.
Because of course he's with Ben, and they can't leave the mayor of Islandtown
No.
behind.
Yeah, they're like Pokemon, man. You got to collect them all.
Oh, wait till season 5.
What?
And this takes us to flash forward number 4. Jack is standing at the front of a church where his father's photo was on display. About 10 months ago, I wrote what I wanted to say at my father's funeral on the back of a cocktail napkin at the Sydney airport. I don't remember what I wrote, but whatever it was, he would have hated it. People start to laugh. My father couldn't stand eulogies. I always want to say Ugoogleese now. Every time I see that word, I can't help it.
It's from, what is it?
Zoolander.
Yeah, thank you, Zoolander. I'm like, I can picture it, but I couldn't think of the name of the movie.
You Googleizer? Yeah, somebody who delivers you Googlies. The only good thing about Awake is the free booze, he'd say. More laughter. Not much of Awake because I won't even be able to bury him. So what I want to say is not for my father. It's for me. Goodbye, Dad. I loved you, and I miss you.
I want to point out, I don't know if you guys remember, but sometime in this season, in more than one episode, the 3 of you were like arguing about there's no way that Jack could ever find out Claire's his sister because nobody knows. They're all dead. There's no way. Who could possibly tell him? And I had to keep my mouth shut the whole time.
Well,
yep.
Because here's your fucking answer.
It's a very short-term spoiler, so here we go.
Yeah. Damn it.
It's a bit... do you want to read this, Lacey?
No, I don't.
Okay. It's a bit later at the service, and Jack is thanking people for coming. His mother says goodbye and that she'll see him at home. Kay tells him good job on the speech, and Jack says, had a lot of practice. Aaron cries just as Claire's mother approaches Jack.
What?
What?
She tells him that she's very sorry for his loss. When Jack asks how she knew his father, she says, I believe I'm the reason he was in Australia when he died. He didn't come to see me. I was still in the hospital. I never saw him. He came to see his daughter, my daughter, Mr. Shepard.
Oh my God.
Jack interrupts to say his father didn't have a daughter, but Carol keeps speaking. Yes, he did. If you don't believe me, check his phone records. Would you like to know the strangest thing about all of this, Mr. Shepard?
Oh my God.
My daughter was on your plane too. She was on flight 815.
Oh my God.
You were in the air for 6 hours, probably just a few rows from her, and you never knew she was your sister.
Holy shit.
She was one of those. She was one of the ones who died when your plane hit the water. Her name was Claire.
What?
Oh, fuck. Your grandson is like 5 feet away from you.
Totally just blew everybody's minds, man.
Yeah.
She says, I didn't mean to burden you with this, but you needed to know. I'm so sorry for your loss.
So when she's saying this, Jack is doing the thing where he's like rubbing his finger across his forehead. You know, like Jack's not doing well when the finger comes out and starts rubbing his forehead. Yeah. Like no, this is huge.
His reaction, this is the best acting he's done in this show, is like his reaction right here.
So good. And
Yeah.
this answers 2 questions, right? 1, how could Jack ever find out that Claire is his sister? And 2, why he was so freaked out and refusing to go near him during her trial.
Yeah.
And why he said, you're not even related to him.
Yep.
Answers
Yep.
all of that because
Yep.
they've known the whole time since they got back.
Carol then walks away, but stops quickly to tell Kate that her son is beautiful.
Huh?
Jack and Kate stare at each other in disbelief.
Like, oh my God.
I can imagine, and obviously you guys can't see me, but I imagine Kate just going,
What the
back on the kahuna, which I want to say kahuna every fucking time I
Me
read
too.
this. Back at the kahuna, Son is asking Michael how he managed to get to New York. He says, Walt and I, we took Ben's boat and we followed his bearing. After a couple of days, we came to an island, with people. I sold the boat. We hopped a cargo ferry back to the States. Didn't tell anybody who we were. She asks him about working for Ben, and Michael explains that he's not. What he's doing is trying to make up for what he did. He wants Son to translate, but Jen says in English, I understand.
Aw.
I mean, I understand.
Uh-huh.
Desmond can be heard calling to Michael that he needs him now. Michael follows Desmond as he runs to a room below deck. Son and Jin follow too. They come to a room completely filled with C4.
Insane
Terrifying.
amount of C4.
Ruh-roh.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like stacked from the floor to the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, that is a
Yeah.
whole lot.
And how has that been on there the whole time? They've been out to sea for how fucking long and nobody
Yeah.
noticed that there was a room full of C4?
Yeah, it's like an obscene overkill of C4.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like if you wanted to take that boat down, my guess is you would not need a metric ton of that shit.
I mean, that would
No,
take
that
down
looked-
the Titanic.
It looked
Yeah,
like they were going to
seriously.
try to blow up the whole fucking island.
Yeah,
with the
right.
C4.
Yeah.
All I can think of is Marvin the Martian looking from far away, thinking, "Where's the big kaboom? There's supposed to be a big kaboom."
Yeah. C4, bang, seafloor.
Oh, boy.
Birds are chirping in the jungle while Kate and Saeed follow some tracks. She says, these aren't Jack or Sawyer. They're different tracks, fresh, and they're doubling back behind us. Saeed
It's not
tells her,
Jack. It's not Saeed.
Nope, that's not Saeed. Nope.
Saeed yells out to whoever's in the jungle to come out now. Richard Alpert pops out with his hands up, asking everyone to relax.
What?
Kate and Saeed are yelling at him to stop right there as they point their guns. Richard is pleading with them to drop their guns, but they refuse. Just then, a whole lot of gun cocking can be heard to let us all know
A
that
lot
they're
of serious people over
A
there.
lot of serious
Oh.
others. And a bunch of others pop out like fucking Ewoks, all holding weapons. Alpert
Bunch of
repeats
other
himself.
others.
Alpert repeats himself. I said drop your guns.
Oh, fuck. The way that Saeed and Alpert are staring at each other right now, it was hot.
Yeah, they're like, who's got the best eyelashes here? Come on. Locke is using binoculars and says he sees 2 men, but not the one who killed Alex. Ben replies, listen to me very carefully, John, because I'm not going to have time to repeat this. You're going to go into that greenhouse through that hole there. Once inside, you're going to turn left, go about 20 paces until you see a patch of anthuriums on your left. They're in an alcove against the north wall. Face the wall, reach down with your left hand, and you'll find a switch that activates the elevator. The elevator takes you down to the orchid station. Hurley says,
Okay.
whoa, wait,
Thank
what?
God Locke doesn't have ADHD, because if you said that to me once, I'd be lost forever. I could not. Well, I didn't even mean to do that, but I would just remember the first step and then go, oh, shit.
I wouldn't know what those flowers look like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
exactly.
either.
I have no
actually.
idea.
I do.
Oh, yay.
I have one.
What does it look like?
It's almost like a peace lily, but the flower is red instead of white.
Oh, okay.
So you could have said
Yeah,
just the red flowers. And
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
He's dropping his botanical knowledge. And Locke wonders about the armed men, and Ben tells him he'll take care of him. When Locke kind of questions that, Ben says, how many times do I have to tell you, John? I always have a plan.
Yes,
Yep.
he does.
Yep.
Yes, he does.
Ben walks away, and we get a montage.
It's montage time.
All
It's been a
right.
while.
Yeah.
Sun is on the freighter with Aaron. Jack and Sawyer are leaving the helicopter to look for Hurley. Saeed and Kate are being escorted through the jungle by the others. Ben enters the greenhouse and hears a rifle cock so that we know that it's serious.
Mm-hmm.
He approaches with his hands raised and says, my name is Benjamin Linus. I believe you're looking for me.
Oh my God.
Kimi comes into frame, points his gun at Ben for a moment before smashing him over the head with it, and it goes black. Lost title screen, end of episode.
Wow.
Oh.
I believe you're looking for me.
Yes.
Plan.
That's some kind of plan, I guess.
Turn
Yeah.
yourself in.
Yeah.
Anybody ready for some fun facts?
Sure.
Sure.
I'm ready for some fun facts.
So today's fun facts, we're going to be science-y, and we're learning about the greenhouse effect. And I took these fun facts from NASA Climate Kids, so every idiot should be able to understand this. Or at least every
You're
idiot's
giving
as smart
idiots
as a
way
kid.
too much credit.
People that take bleach. Yeah.
Okay, maybe not.
I'd like to.
but
I'd
for-
like to think our subject matter and our general sort of vibe throughout this podcast has probably weaned most of those folks off. But
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you've made it this far, yeah, you're probably not religious, or you just have learned to ignore us. And you probably don't like ugly kids. And I mean, you're basically a heathenistic degenerate like us, so that's fine. But for all the kiddos,
hopefully above average intelligence.
I would think for all of the kiddos in your life, send them to climatekids.nasa.gov, and there's all kinds of great science topics for them. But today, the greenhouse effect is a process that occurs when gases in the Earth's atmosphere trap the sun's heat. This process makes Earth much warmer than it would be without an atmosphere. The greenhouse effect is one of those things that makes Earth a comfortable place to live. A greenhouse stays warm inside even during the winter. In the daytime, sunlight shines into the greenhouse, warms the plants and the air inside. At nighttime, it's colder outside, but the greenhouse stays pretty warm. That's because the glass walls or tented walls, like our greenhouse, trap the sun's heat inside. So that's effectively how the atmosphere works, and it is why life is possible on this planet.
Fake news.
Facts and figures.
Oh my God, he's making fun of what the fuck is his name?
Jim Brewer.
Yeah, Jim Brewer. He's gone like uber right wing, and we saw him doing this stand-up. I mean, I guess you would call it stand-up comedy, but he just like does an impression of a cockatoo and then repeats things like facts and figures and Anthony Fauci, and he's like making the claim that I guess we're all cockatoos if we get the vaccine. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not funny at all. It's very sad.
All liberals are walking around going, rock, Dr. Fauci, rock, facts and figures.
Yeah.
Oh, parroting. Yeah, they're parroting his.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he called it a cockatoo instead of a parrot. A cockatoo is a parrot, but it would have made more sense to say parrot. But he's a right winger, so there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can never rely on them to be like, detailed or
Did you hear
accurate
that
or-
we're going to stop forest fires in California by just bringing water from the north?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Making
Yeah.
the forest
The
wet and
forests
moist.
aren't moist enough.
Dampen.
Yeah, we're going to
Dampen.
dampen the forest.
Trump
yeah.
said we're going to dampen the forest with the extra water from the north. I don't
The
know what
north,
he means
yeah.
by that.
Well,
I
if
think of
these people would
Vikings.
just start raking their forests,
Right,
they wouldn't
I
need
know.
to
That's
do
right.
that.
You got to rake it and keep it damp.
I know. He's got a solution for everything, that one. All right. During the day, the sun shines through our atmosphere and Earth's surface warms up the sunlight. And at night, the surface cools again. But because some of the heat is trapped, that's what keeps Earth a warm and cozy 58 degrees Fahrenheit on average. Now, when you say the global temperature, it means you're adding up all of the temperatures around the planet. And that is the average. Now, that has been slowly rising over the last several years, and we're almost hitting runaway greenhouse effect, which is not good.
Like
because
Venus.
A runaway
exactly.
greenhouse, yes, it is like Venus, right? So runaway greenhouse effect occurs when a planet's atmosphere contains greenhouse gas in an amount sufficient to block thermal radiation from leaving the planet at all, which prevents the planet from cooling and from having liquid water on its surface. So if you imagine say you're standing in a greenhouse and all day the sun and the heat comes in, but at night it's unable to leave. Day after day after day, it's just going to get hotter and hotter in there until it is able to evaporate all of the water and not leave any and kill all of the plants. So with a runaway greenhouse effect.
And water vapor is also a greenhouse gas. So as the
builds on
itself.
Yeah.
As
it turns into gas, it ends up fueling the greenhouse effect even more. And given our planet is covered, 70% with water.
Let's just get some fans and blow those gases out into space.
Oh my God.
You know what you do? Just turn the windmills, blow the hot air into the hot, moist air into the forest.
Oh my God.
All fixed. Doesn't say the sharks, but we'll be okay.
So essentially the end of this story is once you pass the point of no return, there is no reversing the runaway greenhouse effect, and it will kill most, if not all life on this planet, including humans. But of course, nobody worry because it's all a hoax.
Yeah. You could look at
remember that ozone hole? What happened to that? Oh, we got rid of chlorofluorocarbons and fixed it.
Yeah,
wow.
and it fucking repaired itself.
But they forget to mention that part.
Yes, because the scientists are correct. Anyways. We don't have to tell our young viewers about that. They fucking know. I hope they vote.
And this is why Venus is actually, other than the sun, is the hottest body on the planet, even though Mercury is nearly like twice as close to the sun.
But not as hot.
Hot, because you could basically think of it as like Mercury is an open pan on a stove, where Venus
has a
is
lid.
more like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Well, the pressure's insane in that planet. When those probes go down in there.
It just melts lead.
It's rain, sulfuric acid.
Yep.
All I heard is there's a lot of pressure with the probe. That's all I heard. How about we do some best and worst moments? Christy, what do you think about this week?
Best moment was son buying her father's company and telling him to respect her.
Mm-hmm.
And worst moment was all that C4. It's just excessive.
Okay. Yeah. Ben, what about you?
Same on the best moment with son buys Peck Automotive. But also, I loved it when Hurley got into the Camaro and saw that the odometer and trip meter read for 18, 15, 16, 23, 42.
Yeah.
It's just like, ooh, God, spooky. I think the worst moment was actually it was just the most like, oh shit moment was when Jack learns that Claire was his sister.
Oh, that's your worst moment, though.
Well, I didn't say it as like I'd say it like
from his point of view, or
yeah. It's like it's the most like oh fuck moment in this case. It wasn't generally when I do a worst moment. It's like the moment that I thought was stupidest in the show, but this one was the one that I thought was like the opposite of oh this is fascinating. It was like oh this is actually kind of soul crushing, and you could see the look on his face. And,
Okay, I typically, a lot of my worst moments also are like something that I find is stupid, so I didn't even have a worst moment this episode because I love it. I think their season finales are always so incredible. Now, obviously, like this isn't even the big stuff because it's only the first one, but we still get this bomb drop that he's known about Aaron the whole time they've been off the fucking island. So I had 3 best moments. That's one of them. Jack finds out Claire's his half-sister because it's just like, holy shit. Son besting her father. Amazing. I love it. I love that she is like on a mission now. Fuck this. I'm taking control. And then just Hurley saying, Mom doesn't really get it, dude.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Derek, what about you?
I had 2 best moments, which have already been mentioned, is, when Son told her asshole father that she bought the controlling interest in his company, and when Claire's mother told Jack he had a sister and her name was Claire.
Yeah.
And I really didn't have much of a worst moment, but I just threw in there just seeing Kimi at the end because anytime I see him, I just want to like punch him.
He's replaced Ethan.
Yes.
It's like you see him, you're just like, ugh. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to do our power rankings. This is one of 3 left before we have our winners. Ben, why don't you start us off with yours?
Yeah, on the bottom, I've got a third, Rocky Dennis. I know she was barely in this, but her face bugs the shit out of me. So
I had such a crush on her during the first run, and it's so funny that everybody thinks that she's like ugly because I still think she's cute. Whatever.
Second, I've got Mr. P, another one who's got a face for radio, and of course, Kimi. Even though he was barely in this, just his mere presence is enough to make me want to rage. At the top, I've got Ben Linus in third place. I've got Hurley in second place, and I've got Sun in first place because she was just baller this episode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, she really fucking was. What about your fucking kill, babe?
I am going to fuck Kate, and I'm going to kill, guess who?
Kimi.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Christy, what do your rankings look like?
On the bottom, third from the bottom is Mr. P, then Kimi because Kimi's just gross, and Widmore because he's kind of running a lot of this.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't even have to be in it. You're just like, I hate you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Top 3. Number 3 is Hurley. Number 2 is Sawyer because he really did take care of Aaron until he could get him to safety. He went with Jack to help out with the bad guys, and he told Jack that Hugo was with Ben and John. He really did a lot of good in this episode. And on top, Sun, she's just so fucking badass. And with that in mind, I'm going to fuck Sun, and I'm going to kill Kimi.
All right. Derek, what about yours?
All right, my third worst was Charles Widmore, for the same reason. He's behind a lot of this that's going on. Second worst is Kimi because he wasn't the worst this time because he was only briefly in there. And then my first worst was Mr. P. My third best was Sawyer, for going with Jack to rescue Hurley.
Yeah, I almost put him in my top 3 as well. He just missed out.
Yeah, I had some that missed out on mine. I'll get to that.
Yeah, if we did like a top 5 or 6, it'd have been great. Yeah, there's a lot of best this episode.
No.
Yeah, season 5, top 5. Hey, there we go.
To our top 30. Let's just have this take fucking forever.
Every fucking character. Second best is Ben Linus, because he's going to save the island. And of course, number 1 this week is Sun, just for standing up to her father and just being a general badass.
We got Sun 3 out of 4 already. She might have a sweep here.
Oh shit!
And I'm going to fuck Sun just because of that, and I'm going to kill Kimi.
Oh, poor Kimi.
No.
What?
Nope, no sympathy.
That leaves me. I only had 2 on the bottom. I'm not sure why I didn't put Kimi in it. Maybe because he was only in it for a second, but I did still kill him, of course. But second worst, I had the superstitious pilot. I can't deal with that. That drove me nuts. Maybe that should have been my worst moment, is the goddamn pilot with the rabbit's foot. But Mr. P I had as the worst because fuck that guy. On the top, third best, I had Dan Faraday for a lot of the reasons that you had was for Sawyer, just helping people. Like, he just jumped on it. He's like, I'm ferrying this boat back and forth. We got to get everybody off this island. I thought he took charge, and I liked it.
His name this episode was Dan Faraday.
Second best, I have Hurley. He's the mayor of Islandtown. He was a lot of comic relief, and he's just always a good dude. And on top, we've got a sweep this week. Sun, you bad bitch. Loving it. I don't think like this week will be enough to, push her high in the season 4 rankings. But if you remember, she's doing pretty good in the aggregate for times like this. I am fucking Saeed and Richard Alpert while they stare intensely at each other. And I'm going to kill Kimi, of course. I said that because fuck that guy. I did not have Benjamin Linus in my top 3 this week, and I may regret that. By the end of this season. We're going to find out. But I don't know. I just thought other people did better this week. All right, Benjamin. Give us the update with only 2 episodes left in the season. What do those rankings look like?
Well, no positions have jumped. Everyone's in the same place they were. The one thing is that Charles Widmore has actually knocked all 3 doctors out of third place or third from last place.
Oh,
all right.
So yeah, we had a 3-way tie between all the doctors for some time. Now Charles Widmore has taken that sole position with negative 29 points.
Okay.
Jack remains in second to last with negative 32 points, and Kimi, I mean, just it's almost sad at this point. Negative 181 points.
Fuck that guy.
Yep.
The top standings remain the same, though the points have shifted a little bit. It's still everyone's in the same place. So on the bronze podium, Ben Linus with 66 points. Juliet stays even with 71 points, and Hurley extends his lead with 82 points.
Oh my goodness. All right. Let's do some final impressions, and then we'll see you guys next week for the end of this. Ben, what did you think of the part 1 of the finale, There's No Place Like Home, which none of us have mentioned? That is, of course, another Wizard of Oz reference, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the flash forwards were kind of cool, getting to see everybody come back to life and how they start to try to adapt to it. Mm-hmm. I think obviously the reveal to Jack that Claire was his sister was a big bomb to drop. Right. The one thing about the episode that got to me a little bit was how, like, and I realized why they did it, but it was like everybody was having to swap to different quests. So it was like Kate goes here and then she goes back and then she drops off the baby and then she goes back, and like everyone's having to kind of rejigger whatever their MO was, because now we're all basically it's the sort of Pokemon thing. We've got to collect everybody before we leave. So it was I like that because it was like it does show sort of a solidarity of all of the folks on the island. All in all, it was a really good episode. I thought, again, a really good opening to this last 3 episodes of this season.
Yeah, I agree. When they do the 3-part finales, you can always count on the first one and most of the second, if not all of it, to really be building toward what they're gonna slap you with.
So next season, are they gonna have 4 parts finales?
No, I think the end of season 5 is a 2-part finale, and as is 6, I think. I don't have the episodes right in front of me. But still, even though this was like the more slow pace, like set up to the end, they gave you 2 really huge moments, which was the reveal from Claire's mother and also son just like being a badass and getting one over on her father. It definitely leaves me just like, I can't wait to see the next 2. Like, what the fuck happens in the Orchid? Are they actually going to move the island? Is anybody going to catch Kimi? Obviously, we know they don't kill everyone because the Oceanic 6 are off the island. But, yeah, like you said, Ben, they got to collect them all up to get them off that island. And, it just leaves me wanting to see how it happens. What about you, Christy?
Oh, I thought it was a fucking great episode. Had a really hard time deciding on my favorite moments because there are just so many fantastic moments.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this before, but I have forgotten what happened in most of these episodes.
I know, and so is Ben.
I have some small general ideas, and so it's. Even though I've seen it all before, it's been so long that it is blowing my fucking mind.
Yay! Well, I guess, as the further the podcast has gone along, the more it's become like 3 of you living it almost for the first time.
Yeah.
Only one of you really for the first time. Derek, what did you think of the opener of the season 4 finale? And like, what kind of questions has it gotten in your brain?
Yeah, I thought it was a really great episode. The Oceanic 6 finally arrived back to the States, but poor Kate, has nobody to greet her. They're lying about what really happened during the crash and on the island.
Yeah, what's that about?
Yep, a couple of bombs were dropped, especially there's actually a bomb on the boat, but there's a bomb dropped on Jack about his sister. And, Ben, they've made it to the Orchid. He turned himself in, or he surrendered for some reason. That's his plan.
Mm-hmm.
And Kate's taken hostage by the others. So my biggest questions are, why are they lying about what really happened during and after the plane crash?
Mm-hmm.
And what is inside the Orchid?
What is inside the Orchid? All right. Well, I will tell you, both of those are going to be answered next week. Next Wednesday, we're back. It's the end of season 4. You get parts 2 and parts 3 of There's No Place Like Home. They are, of course, both Oceanic 6 episodes and both Derek episodes while he takes us through the end of season 4. Plus, you're going to get our bonus Theories and Questions episode. We will talk about fan theories after season 4, dive deep into the power rankings with some fun facts about that, including the aggregate. Will the mayor stay on top? It's looking that way. Plus, I read The Invention of Morale. I'm not going to read it to you, and I'm not going to Gilgamesh you, but I am going to pull out a few stark and amazing themes that correlate with the show. There was more than just the fugitive thing, which I found great. And, of course, Derek will have his own theories and questions post-season 4. Join us 1 week, all 3 episodes. You get it. End of season 4. We'll see you then. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacey J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook and SpaceBear_Media on Instagram and Threads. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube for extra video content. Or for everything in one place, go to spacebearmedia.com.